All praises to the Most High in Christ. God bless all you Israelites out there awaken, and the those that are going to wake up later. You know, we are trying to wake up and get to come back to the laws and commandments of God. So what we want to do is, what we've been trying to do is teach how God gave us rights, common law rights, God-given rights, and he set it up with the world to know that they have to follow a guideline, that they, since they're going to be over here dwelling with us, after we wake up and start keeping these laws and commandments of God, the curse is going to be, some of the curses will be released off of us. We know we don't have nukes to deliver ourselves from the God of this world, the gods of this world. Okay, that's all the Romans right now. That's all of the Romans, the Chinese, Russia, all of the dignitaries that's ruling in these lands, in South America, all the dignitaries who are the terrors set up by the governments, by the Edomite governments, Job 9 and 24, the governments that are set to run this world. We know that they have duplicated laws for us to keep. They have came over in our land and made UCC codes when we already had laws. This government in this country was set up by our ancestors. The treaties with the Indians, the Peace and Friendship Treaty. We look at the Clarefield Trust. We understand being free and giving consent to governments. That's what we want to look at today. How we lose our freedom when we give our consent to the will of other people. Okay. So let's see. We did a video on what being free means, right? Okay. The rights that God gave us, every man, to be free. And we gave the definition for that. Okay, but we're going to look at it again in the context of what the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, and what other people, Black's Law, have wrote as far as what government's job is, what the government's job is. Okay, so what is that going to do for the Israelites? It's going to let us know that God really did count us number one over all the earth. Okay, and he did set provisions and set a path for us to take as we flee. Now remember, just like in Egypt, when the children of Egypt, God decided to deliver them, when God sent Moses in to deliver them from the government of the Egyptians, what did they do? Excuse me. I always get this head cold, and when the weather's changing. So bear with me. God always, I digress. When the Egyptians were governing over the children of Israel, God set Moses in to deliver them. Now, what did they do? When they were leaving the government, the Egyptian government, fleeing from them, they fled into the wilderness toward the Red Sea, right? But did they stop and say, well, I don't know if if the Egyptians want to let us go or not? No, they didn't. They just did what God told them to do, gathered themselves together and came out from her. That's all they had. That's all the direction they had, right? Headed toward the Red Sea. And that's what in today's time, I believe that's what God is telling us to do, is to gather together, keeping the laws and commandments all over the world. And it's a spiritual flee that we're going to be doing. Okay? But now God required the Israelites to make a declaration to the Egyptian government, say, let my people go. That's what we got to do. We got to declare our independence from them. And so by learning the common law and the civic law that God set up for us to flee up under, the wings to ride out of the governing of the United States, because you know they don't want to let us go. Because if they let us go, then they would have to say that we are the children of God. And Kanye West and a bunch of others can attest to the fact that they do not want to let us go. They spent too much money. They know when they do, they would have to admit that we are the children of God. Because that's the controversy in today. That's the controversy of the children of Israel. Who are the true children of God? We have imposters, and in the last day, that's the controversy that's holding us down right now. They stolen our identity. And God said, Romans 9:26, that he's gonna make it to where they have to give that back. We know by watching what they're doing to Kanye now and what they've always done when we declared that we were the Israelites. Instead of them coming out and debunking us and proving us wrong, what do? The Ashkenazi Jews, they violate our First Amendment right to unite as a people. And until we start walking those lawsuits in on those media conglomerates and those big businesses and those banks, the bank made Kanye get his money out of there. They just, that was discriminating against his First Amendment right. And they are, every time we say that we are the Jews, they discriminate our First Amendment right. So what we got to do is start walking those lawsuits in there, right? And we can get their lawyers, or we can stand on our own square and be our own attorneys and be our own defenders of our rights, and stand on our own square and get and make them people pay for harming us. Didn't they just make Harvey Weinstein pay? Wasn't he a Jew? Didn't he pay those white people, so-called white people? Okay, we can get the same treatment done, because we know who we are. Unless they can prove that they brought us over here in slavery and none of us was here, but those pale-faced, lying mulattoes that they got posted up as imposters, and those pale-faced other mulattoes all around the Americas posing as dignitary people, indigenous people. We can sue them too now. We can sue them too. We can sue those Indians, and we can sue those mulatto Mexicans too, and all the rest of the mulattoes that's posing as government in our land, and they're really Edomites. If they don't have black fathers, so help me, they need their butt sued. They can't prove that they are native through the blacks, then they need their butt sued. Every one of them posing as brown people and indigenous people of this land. So we can sue them. And that's what we have to do, to go back and get our civic rights and learn them. Because I got a handbook I'm going to be reading. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. Common Law Handbook for the Grand Jury. It has a lot of other things to use it for besides a lot of information that pertains to us, not only grand jury, but we're going to be reading through this book, and it tells us the introduction in the purpose of the book. It tells us that what the role of government is, and what the role of the people was intended for, and what the role of the Constitution is. The Constitution is The Constitution is to make aware the governments that be in power, they that be in power over here, that we have common law, we have God-given rights. We have a lot more than the Constitution. But the Constitution is just some of the main rules, some of the main rights that we have that they can't violate. So a lot of people, you hear people saying, oh, the Constitution wasn't written for us. They don't know what they're talking about. The Constitution was written for free people. The reason why you say it wasn't written for you, because you think you're that 3/5 of a man that they have to give freedom to. No, they don't give us freedom. God gave us freedom. And the Constitution is the awareness, the guidelines for them and for us, boundaries that we can't go. If we're in government, in an office or position, we can't violate them and they can't violate us. And so is the Peace and Friendship Treaty, same thing, and all the other treaties that was grandfathered and considered older law than the Constitution. Did you know the Indian treaties are considered older law and never to be abridged, along with the 1779 Peace and Friendship Treaty? They are older than the Constitution, and they are before they are considered law before the Constitution. You should consider them before you do the Constitution, but the Constitution is in sync with the republic government. It is a republic. It is the law of the republic. We govern ourselves. That's what republic means. Is every man govern himself according to his God-given rights. And the only way government or the citizens are to step in is when we hurt people or violate people's property. We have to step in sometime and be a judge and set up a grand jury, set up a jury, and set up the elders to rule over and judge over matters between us and other nations, okay, that mingle with us, because we are being occupied right now. But we do have rules. Since everybody's free, government is by consent. Let's get into that now, because this is going to help us understand that God is for us resisting the law of the land. We'll resist it when we'll resist it, the law of the land, when when we don't have to involve coming together as a whole people and standing together and demanding that they stop violating us. If we have to pick up guns and be malicious, then that's what we'll have to do. Because I didn't finish telling you the story about Jesus Christ, about the Lord Yahweh Shai. When Satan, did I finish reading that? I sure didn't. Let me finish reading that. 5th verse. I'm thinking to show you. I'm about to show you what Yahweh Shai did when the devil tried to take government. Then the devil taketh him up, Matthew 4:5, taketh him up into the holy city and setteth him on a pedestal of the temple. Set him on a pedestal. Don't that sound like what they do here? They set you on a pedestal, the pedestal in Hollywood, the pedestal in the music industry, the pedestal in the business world, and they tell you. And said unto him, the devil said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, if you be the children of Israel, cast yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning it. Ain't that what he asked you to do? Do that gangster rap? Sell dope to your people? Cast yourself down. Tempt God. Do what he told you not to do. He ain't gonna. That same thing the devil told Eve in the garden. You shall not surely die. Okay. He shall give his angel charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest ye dash your foot against a stone. He's not gonna let you down. Jesus, I can do what I want to do. I can eat what I want to eat. I can do what I want to do because I believe in white Jesus, and he said I don't have to keep the laws, and I'm gonna make it in heaven anyway. Okay, But look what Jesus said. Jesus said unto him, to the devil, it is written, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. And look what happened. And again, the devil taking him up in the mountains. Okay, this is the one right here. Again, the devil taking him up in the mountain, up into an exceeding high place, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. All right, ain't that something? The devil got the kingdoms. The devil, earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Can he give it to the Lord Jesus Christ? He didn't want it. He didn't want no reparations. And showeth him the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Jesus unto him, get thee hence, Satan. Get behind me, Satan. Get out of my face. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only, and serve. Him only shalt thou serve. See, so that's what we're trying to get to, and get you to see. Just like Moses, when he left, Jesus resisted the devil. He didn't care nothing about all the riches in the world. He was just him and Moses. Moses a typology of Christ. Moses came down off of his throne. He was next in line to rule the world. Moses was. And he came down and said, I'd rather suffer with the people of God. That's the God I'm going to let govern me. And that's until we do that, then we got the mark of the beast. Until we do that, we are headed on the path to get the mark of the beast. No return. That means we are so strongly delusioned that we will not love the truth. We will hate the truth. We see our people doing it every day. They hate that truth because they want to. Men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. Okay? So we know what this government has done to our people. They give them Christianity when they don't even believe in God. They know he exists and they tremble, but they cannot change their behavior. Okay? They cannot be reformed. They can stop drinking alcohol, stop using drugs, but they cannot love God. They cannot walk right. A wolf can put on sheep clothes, right? But he can't walk right. He can't walk like a sheep. Okay? He can't walk like a sheep. He gonna slew foot around. You know, he might have them sheep clothes on, but you can tell a wolf by the way he walk. We can tell these devils, we know who y'all are. We see the way y'all walk. We know y'all don't believe in God, all of y'all. We know you don't believe in that Bible. So this is what we want to do. We want to show you your civic rights. Okay, let me see. What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Okay, let me see. No. How would I do this again? I want to bring this picture up here. No, there we go. No, there we go. Okay. Your rights are God-given. You are free. See, the thing about it, the main thing is we don't know what free is. We are free from them. We are free when we resist the devil. That's when we're free. Because the Bible said, know ye not that who you yield your members to, that's whose servant you are. So if you say, that tie in just right. Is that in Romans? Know ye not who you yield your members to, that's whose servant you are. So if we tell the devil, you can use us, we'll do your will, we'll be a part of your government, then we lose our freedom. That's the bottom line. Everybody that know anything about the Constitution, the Moors, and anybody else know how the civics work. That's how it works. The government, you'll see here, is a government of consent. Okay? It says, we're born free. Free is not subject to the legal constraints of another. That's what being free is, not being subject to the legal constraints of another. And we can put these lawsuits in just on that basis. And on these so-called Jewish people who say we're not Semitic, and what they're actually doing is is blocking us from using our, punishing us from for standing up for our First Amendment, the constitutional right, First Amendment, the right to assemble. That don't mean protest. That means they know what their ancestors did to us when they stole our identity. If they are not the tyrants that their Columbus, that their ancestors were, then they'll stop standing in our way and stop saying, if you want your identity back, you got to take it. That's what they're saying. And that's what the Jews are saying. That's what the Jewish people are saying. Okay, let's read this. To be free is not to be subject to legal constraints of another. Unconstrained, having the power to follow the dictation of your own free will. Nobody can dictate the law or what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Jaywalk, can't cross the street here. How they gonna come in your land, set up laws, and say that this street belongs to them? They got signs here now. You are violating the state when the state is not a person. A person can't be a thing can't be violated by you. Only a living person. Okay. So dictate his own will. That's Black's Law, revised version, fourth edition, page 791. Okay. So in this book too, there's also this is what I'm about to read from Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence. That to secure these rights, okay, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Governments are instituted among men to secure your God-given rights. That's why we set people up, to secure our God-given rights among men. Let's see, instituted among men, derive their just power. The governments that are secure, these governments that we have, they are to secure these God-given rights. They're set up to secure these God-given rights, and they are instituted among men, and they get their power, just power, from the consent of the governed, the states, the people. We give them power. They cannot extend power, add power, and they can't transfer power. They can only extend it. I think what I'm saying. In other words, they can't give power that's not given from us. They can't give it to anybody else. But they can assign people to do the job, to use the power that we give them. They can assign that to somebody else. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, and then it says, and to secure these rights also, and this is what the government has set in place. It's to secure the rights and to protect the property. Governments are instituted among people, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Okay, I read that twice, and that's the source is Nebraska's Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, 1875, amended in 1988. Initiative measure number 403. Now, this is the part right here. Consent. The government only get their power from the consent of the people. Okay, what is consent? Voluntarily yielding the will to the proposition of another. Black's Law, Revised Version 4th edition, page 377. The government can only do what you allow them to do. I do not consent. When you do not consent to that government, you got to stand up and let them know. You can't just voluntarily yield to their will. And that's what they try to get you to do in the courts. That's what the police are trying to get you to do, is to voluntarily surrender your will to what he's asking, what he's suggesting you to do. They call it an offer. I'm sure you've heard these terms before from the Israelites, from the Moors and some other people that teach secure party creditor. They teach that stuff, but they sell you this information right here. They won't run it down and set you down. One person, Jamar, they locked him up. Him and that group, I think they was going to a gun range, and they jumped out with their guns. And when the police approached them, they were traveling in military attire. They had their guns. They ran in the woods, and they got locked up. They're still in jail. It's a way you got to do these things, right? Walking those lawsuits in there and talking to these people and letting them know when you get, if you have to go before a court, it's some questions you have to do to challenge their jurisdiction. At the same time, you can let the police officer know that you are free and what it means. And if you have to educate him on it, you can put you in the car and do what he wants to. Don't fight against that, because you're just going to escalate the violence, all right? So don't fight against that. So there's the notes right there. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to wake you with every avenue. Paul said, I left not a rock unturned. So we're turning over the people who are trapped under the rocks of the government, under the false illusion of the government. That's what we're doing by bringing out your civic rights. And not only that, we're going to put another video on here to show you how God agrees with all of this. This is all godly. Even the government, in that book I showed you, the government said that they convened with God to come up with common law. In other words, they looked and saw what God thought what was right according to law, how men should treat each other. And they made the common law. But not only that, our natives, ancestors, they were already keeping the common law. A republic government. The Constitution came from the Mosaic Law. So you say you're not being governed by the Mosaic Law, that's a lie. That's a damn lie. The common law came from the Mosaic Law. So we won't hold you, and I hope you guys hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We're gonna try to go back out here and bless these Jehovah's Witnesses. A lot of people say, oh, they don't even understand what you're talking about. And they don't. Yes, they do. These people are well trained, and they wouldn't put them out there if they didn't think they could do the job they assigned them to do. They are working. And so if they didn't know how to go out here and keep that Jehovah's Witness message going, regardless of what they hear the Bible really says, they got another Bible they go by. So nobody can be that dumb and stupid. These are demonic people out here doing that. When they hear the Bible, they are told not to listen to that Bible coming from anybody but them, but the Jehovah's Witnesses. So nobody's that ignorant. They know they're in a cult. They like being in there. And they'll tell you they don't want to hear nothing about a black man coming into power over them. But God is raising up all of us that will hear and come and keep these laws. He's raising us up to be judges so we can indict these people and get our people out of their grasp. Okay, so yes, if there be the Lord's strength and the Lord's will give me strength, I'm going to go back out there and keep trying to make these people put their foot in their mouth, make them. Let me tell you something. The world is not stupid. They know the Jehovah's Witness, as much as they like to talk and chase people down and bug people and force their religion on you. We are not supposed to go where they're standing at and ask them, question them about the wicked philosophy that they have. Oh, yes, we are. And the world know when they shut up and won't say nothing, they know that's because they're afraid that they're going to be exposed. So, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you listen to this, you'll be better off talking. But you still just as effective. It's just as effective when you clam up like that. Okay? You plead the fifth, right? All right. Well, God bless you all. You all, all praise to the Most High in Christ. Take care. We in a war, y'all. Remember, we in a war. We can't be nice sometimes. We can't be nice. We're snatching our people out of the jaws of Satan. That's no nice way to do that. Okay? All right. God bless.